In this tutorial, you will learn how to generate random numbers in Make.com so that you can, for example, generate like a user ID, maybe some kind of like A/B testing, maybe like a simple round robin, maybe you want to generate coupons. There's all kinds of use cases. So let's just dive right in. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a set variable module to my scenario, and I'm going to call it here random number. So what this allows me to do is I can then create a variable and use the variable later on in my scenario in a different module or in a router. So we're going to create a function here, but if you want that function, you can also use somewhere else directly. Just play around with it. But this for me is easy to show you how that works. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to generate a random number between 0 and 1 with 16 decimal places. So to do that, we go over to the math functions, and then underneath variables, you find here the random variable. And the random variable is a really cool feature in Make that we can use to generate this random number between 0 and 1 with these like 16 decimal places. So over here you see a random number 0.0985 and then a whole bunch of other numbers. Here, if I run it again, you see that every time we get a different number over here. Now, this we're going to use in almost all the examples I'm about to show you. So, for example, if we want to have a number from 1 to 10, including 1 and 10, what we want to do is we want to multiply this. So we drag this in here. You can also just click this if you want. And then we say here times 10. This is not it yet, but I just want to show you what happens then. Is we click here save, we click here run once. And then you see now that our random number is not anymore between 0 and 1, but now it is between 0 and 10 basically, but still with a bunch of decimal places. So what we do then is we select all of this. So I'm going to copy it then, I remove it. And then we go over to the math functions. And then over here underneath functions, you find floor. And floor returns the largest integer or whole number that is less than or equal to the number that was generated. So I'm going to drag this in here. And then in between this, I paste what we had earlier. So now we have floor random multiplied by 10. I click save and then click save again, click here run once. And then you see now that we have a random number. Every time it will generate a different number. But as you can see over here, it will then include the number 0. And it will not include the number 10. So what we need to do, very simple, is we go over to the math functions when we do plus 1. So this is our complete formula. And this formula every time is going to generate a random number between 1 and 10. Including 1 and 10, not including 0. Now then we can use this same method to, for example, create, let's say, a little dice game. Now, a dice game is 1 to 6, right? Now, to do that, to change that, what we do over here is we change the 10 to a 6 and we leave the plus 1. So we click here save, we click run once. And then you see now that every time it's going to generate a random number from 1 to 6. And we can also use the same method to maybe create, let's say, a random percentage. So a number from 1 to 100. So maybe you already know what we're about to do, but we change the number 6 to 100. We leave again the plus 1. We click here save, click save again, click run once. And then you see now every time we get a random number from 1 to 100. If you want to include then a percentage symbol or maybe some kind of text, what you need to do is you need to go over to the general functions and then use these over here, the expression. And then we paste our formula over here. And then over here, we add the percentage symbol. So we click here save, click save again, click run once. And then you see now it says every time a different percentage. Now, what if we now want to create a whole different kind of random number? Let's say a random number with 10 digits. Maybe you want to use it for like a user ID or maybe like some kind of a customer support unique number in the subject line, something like that. So what we're going to do then is it's pretty simple. It also looks like what we had before, but first we're going to add over here random, then we multiply it by 1 and then the amount of zeros that you want your number to be long. So we want our number to be 10 digits. So we're going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we're going to copy this, we remove it, and then over here we use the round function to get the nearest whole number. Otherwise we're going to get a number again with decimal places. So over here we paste this in here, we click save again, click run once, and then you see now we get a random number with 10 digits. And if you want, you can just simply change the amount of zeros to get a different length number, right? Or apparently this is a little too big, but let's say we can maybe also, I don't know, let's have here one with, how many is this? 5, click save, click run once, and then you see over here that we have now 20,934. And if you want all these random numbers, you can, for example, also use for like some kind of like simple round robin technique. So let's say over here, we want to generate a number from 1 to 3. So 1, 2, or 3. So to do that, we use random multiplied by 3. Then we use the floor function to get the nearest whole number below what is generated, so that we basically get rid of all the decimal places. We add then +1, so that we always get 1, 2, or 3, and not 0, 1, or 2. So that's what the +1 is for, right? So in theory, this works really great. So this will always then generate like a random number, and then it goes to one of the routes to maybe, for example, divide a lead by different salespeople in our team. So the scenario starts, and then it goes into the router, and then the first lead goes ideally to Emma, the second one goes to John, the third one goes to Sarah, and then the fourth one goes to Emma, and so on and so on. We basically want it to go to these people evenly. So if we click here win once, I can maybe demonstrate that it works, but also that there is a problem with this. So right now you see it started, it went to the second route, and then over here it went to the first one, it went to the first one again, it went to the second one, and it went to the second one again, and then to the first one, and then eventually it will go to the third one. So it's just purely random. So it can happen that it goes to 1, 2, and then 3, but it can also happen that it goes to 1, to 1, to 1, to 2, to 2, to 2, to 3, to 3, to 3, or to 5 times to 1, 2 times to 2, and then maybe another few times to 3. It's purely random. So for some use cases, this is really great. If you're like, okay, it's not really about people, it's just like I want to maybe test like a B test, like some kind of process, then this is great. But if you truly want it to divide evenly, you basically don't want the number to be random. You want the first number to be 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6. So if you want to learn how to do that, I created this scenario over here, which uses the increment function. And then we use this function over here to evenly distribute the people between all the possible routes evenly. So here you see it goes to 1, it goes to 2, it goes to 3, always perfectly distributed. So if you want to learn how to do that, then watch this tutorial over here that will explain how that all works.